Ladies and gentlemen, we need to talk about something uncomfortable, something most people ignore, because it's easier to pretend than to confront, easier to excuse than expose. But today, I'm going to be honest with you. As honest as you need someone to be, because if you're waking up every day next to a woman who drains you, controls you, manipulates you, or punishes your peace, it's time to stop calling it love. There are 7 evident signs you're dealing with an evil woman. And I'm not using the word evil lightly. I'm talking about the kind of woman who doesn't want to grow with you, she wants to break you. She doesn't want to see you win, she wants to see you dependent, small, afraid of losing her. And if that's the dynamic in your relationship, wake up, because it's not just toxic, it's destructive. Sign number 1, she uses love as a weapon. One moment she's warm, affectionate, and calling you the best man in the world. The next, she's cold, silent, withdrawn. Her love is conditional based on your obedience, not your authenticity. And here's the trick. You start chasing the good version of her. You start thinking, maybe if I do better, she'll go back to who she was. But that woman you're chasing, she doesn't exist. She was bait. You're not in love. You're addicted to the version of her that was designed to manipulate you. Sign number 2, she gaslights you constantly. You catch her in a lie, she flips the script. You express how you feel, she calls you too sensitive. You bring up an issue, and somehow you end up apologizing. That's not miscommunication, that's manipulation. That's her rewriting reality to keep control. And the more you stay, the more you doubt your own perception. That's the goal, to make you question your truth. So you rely on hers. Sign number 3, she isolates you. At first, she just didn't like your friends. Then your family never respected her. Now you're spending every weekend with her and only her. Isolation isn't always obvious. Sometimes it's disguised as closeness. But here's the test. Are you still connected to who you were before her? Or has she cut you off from every source of support and strength you had? Because evil doesn't want you empowered, it wants you dependent. Sign number 4, she enjoys your pain. This one's dark but necessary. When something bad happens to you, does she show up with empathy, or does she seem a little pleased? Because she likes you better broken. She likes you more when you're unsure. That's when you're easier to control. And when you start to succeed, does she celebrate you? Or does she get critical, cold, distant? Pay attention to who claps when you win and who disappears. Sign number 5, she punishes you with silence. Not every abuser yells. Some go quiet, days without a word. Passive-aggressive punishment. You're left wondering what you did wrong, begging for communication, lowering your voice just to not upset her. That's not love, that's control. And every time you tolerate it, you teach her it works. Sign number 6, she's charming in public, cruel in private. To everyone else, she's so sweet, so supportive, so amazing. But behind closed doors, she's someone else entirely. You start to wonder if maybe it's you, but listen to me, it's not. Evil wears a mask, and if no one believes you, that's part of the plan. Her reputation is her armor. Your silence is her weapon, and the longer you protect her, the more damage she does. In sign number 7, your soul feels tired, not your body, your soul. You feel like you're walking on eggshells. You've lost your spark, your confidence, your joy. You don't even recognize yourself anymore. That's not normal. That's not love. That's not you being too sensitive. That's your soul screaming for help. Now, I know this is hard to hear, because maybe you love her. Maybe you've invested years. Maybe you've built a life, a home, even a family. But love is not supposed to destroy you. It's supposed to grow you, support you, elevate you. And if the woman in your life is slowly poisoning your peace, your purpose, and your potential, it's not love. It's control, it's manipulation, it's evil wrapped in romance. So what do? You don't argue, you don't beg, you don't wait for her to change. You get silent, you get clear, and you get out. Because the longer you stay, the more you lose. Your strength, your confidence, your future, and listen to me closely, you were not created to live in fear. You were not created to be punished with love. You were not created to shrink so someone else can feel big. You were created for peace, for purpose, for power, and if she's standing in the way of that, you don't need to yell, you don't need to fight, you just need to walk and don't look back. Your life begins the moment you stop making excuses for someone else's evil. The moment you stop mistaking pain for passion, the moment you say, "This ends with me," choose yourself every time. Evil doesn't always come crashing into your life like a villain in a movie. It doesn't always announce itself with rage, threats, or loud chaos. In fact, some of the most destructive people in your life will be the ones who smile the brightest, speak the softest, and present themselves as everything you've ever wanted. That's what makes it so dangerous. Because while you're waiting for some big, obvious betrayal, the real harm is happening slowly, subtly, and quietly. It's in the patterns, in the things you keep brushing off, making excuses for, or second, guessing your intuition about. Evil, when it's close to you, doesn't feel like a monster. It feels like confusion. It feels like guilt. It feels like, maybe I'm overreacting. The truth is, evil doesn't scream, it manipulates. It plays the long game. It convinces you to abandon yourself a little bit at a time. That woman who's making you question your worth, gaslighting you into thinking everything's your fault, or twisting your words until you don't know what's real anymore, she's not just having a bad day. She's not just emotional. She's showing you who she is, over and over again. But because evil wraps itself in charm, in beauty, in false vulnerability, you second. Guess what your gut already knows? You want to believe the best in her. You want to believe the good moments mean more than the bad. But what if I told you that evil is counting on that? It's counting on your empathy, your loyalty, your desire to fix things. It's counting on you being more committed to the relationship than to your own mental health. A manipulative woman will not destroy you overnight. She'll do it piece by piece. First, she'll test how much control she has by seeing how much you'll tolerate. She'll ignore your boundaries, then make you feel guilty for having them. She'll make a passive-aggressive comment, then accuse you of being too sensitive. She'll push, pull, confuse, flatter, punish, all in a cycle that makes you constantly feel off balance. That's not accidental. That's strategy. The goal is not love. The goal is control. And what's worse, you'll start to silence yourself. You'll start to filter what you say, how you move, what you share, all in an effort to keep the peace. That's a red flag right there. If being in a relationship with someone requires you to suppress your truth, walk on eggshells, and shrink just to maintain harmony, you're not in a relationship. You're in a trap. Let's be clear, evil doesn't always look like abuse. Sometimes it looks like manipulation disguised as love. It looks like emotional blackmail. It looks like a cycle of chaos followed by intense affection. It looks like someone who says all the right things but whose actions slowly drain you, confuse you, and wear you down. That's the part most people miss, because you keep waiting for it to get bad enough before you leave. You keep holding onto the hope that she'll change, or maybe if I'm better, she'll love me better. But here's the raw truth: she doesn't need to change. She's not confused. She knows exactly what she's doing, and every time you stay, you're teaching her that this behavior works. Now you might say, but she had a hard life, or she's been through so much, or she doesn't mean to hurt me. I hear that. And I'm not here to dismiss anyone's trauma, but someone's pain is not a permission slip to cause you harm. At some point, her wounds stop being an explanation and start becoming an excuse. And when you justify evil behavior because you see her potential, you're not being loyal, you're being manipulated. One of the hardest things to accept is that someone you love might not love you in a healthy way. But hear me, just because it started in love doesn't mean it should continue in dysfunction. Just because you saw light in her once doesn't mean you have to stay while she pulls you into darkness. You deserve a relationship where you don't have to second. Guess yourself, where love feels like safety, not confusion. Where silence doesn't mean punishment, where affection doesn't come with strings, where your emotions are not ammunition for control, evil smiles, evil pretends, evil performs, but your body always knows the truth. That knot in your stomach, that tightness in your chest, that exhaustion in your soul, that's your intuition screaming at you to pay attention. You're not crazy. You're not overreacting. You're waking up. And when you wake up, you have a choice. You can keep waiting for her to magically become who you hoped she was, or you can walk away not with hate, not with bitterness, but with clarity, with self-respect, with peace, because the longer you stay in the presence of hidden evil, the more it convinces you that love is supposed to hurt, and that's a lie. Real love doesn't drain you, it doesn't confuse you. It doesn't punish your honesty. Real love grows you, heals you, respects you. Anything less than that isn't love, it's manipulation in disguise, and it's time to choose better, starting with choosing you. Every time when you're dealing with a manipulative woman, charm is not a gift, it's a weapon. It's her most powerful tool, and she knows exactly how to use it. At first, it seems harmless, even flattering. She's kind, witty, affectionate, maybe even mesmerizing. You feel seen, you feel special, but what you don't realize in the moment is that charm is not the same thing as character, and while you're falling for her words, her eyes, her energy, she's calculating every move. Manipulation doesn't always look like control. Sometimes it looks like connection. But when someone is using charm to manipulate, they're not connecting with you. They're studying you. This kind of woman pays attention not to nurture you, but to learn how to play you. She notes what makes you feel loved, what makes you feel insecure, what triggers you, what soothes you, and then she uses all of that to keep you exactly where she wants you, hooked, uncertain, and always chasing. You might hear her say things like, "I know you better than you know yourself." It sounds romantic until you realize she uses that information against you, not for you. That's not intimacy, that's control wrapped in affection. What makes it more insidious is that she doesn't come at you with overt demands or ultimatums, at least not at first. She makes subtle comments, she plays the victim, she uses guilt. She'll say things like, "I guess I just love you more than you love me," or "maybe I'm just too much for you." These are not cries for connection. They're psychological traps. They're designed to make you prove your love by sacrificing your boundaries. The moment you start explaining yourself, apologizing for things you didn't do, or bending to avoid upsetting her, you've stepped into her web. A manipulative woman uses silence as a power play. She'll withdraw affection, go cold, pull away, not to process, not to heal, but to make you feel off balance. You'll find yourself wondering what you did wrong. You'll start chasing her attention, and when she finally gives it again, it feels like a reward, like you've earned back her love. That's the cycle. Create emotional instability, then restore it on her terms. And the more it happens, the more addicted you become, not to her love, but to the relief that comes after her punishment. That is not love, that is emotional conditioning. She also twists reality. That's the thing with charm, it's believable. So when she lies, or twists the story, or flips the blame onto you, she does it with such confidence that you start doubting your own memory. You might think, maybe I did say it that way. Maybe I am overreacting. That's gaslighting. And it doesn't happen all at once. It happens in small, daily conversations where you begin to doubt your instincts and slowly defer to hers. You'll start to notice that you feel most confused right after talking to her. That's not coincidence, that's design. A manipulative woman doesn't want you grounded in your truth. She wants you floating in hers, because as long as she controls the narrative, she controls you, the scariest part. Other people might not believe you. She's so charming, so sweet, so put together. In public, everyone loves her. That's not a mistake. That's the mask, and you, only you, get to see what's behind it, the criticism, the coldness, the mind games. That can make you feel isolated, like you're the crazy one, like maybe you're just too sensitive, but you're not. You're the one being targeted because charm is her way in. But control is the goal. Over time, your confidence will fade. You'll second guess every decision. You'll wonder what happened to the strong, happy version of yourself. That's the cost of staying in a relationship with someone who manipulates you through charm. You lose your sense of reality, your trust in yourself, and eventually your voice. So what do? First, you stop justifying her behavior. You stop telling yourself she means well. No, if someone's actions consistently hurt you, confuse you, or control you, intentions don't matter. Patterns do. You start paying attention to how you feel around her, not how you used to feel, or how she makes you feel sometimes but how you feel most of the time. Do you feel anxious, off balance? Not good enough? That's the truth, and then you stop playing the game, you stop chasing her approval, you stop trying to explain yourself to someone who's committed to misunderstanding you. You stop hoping for her to change and start deciding how you will change. Maybe that means setting boundaries, maybe that means leaving, maybe it just means reclaiming your peace one step at a time, but it starts with this: don't mistake charm for character, don't let the smiles fool you. Because someone who truly loves you doesn't confuse you, doesn't punish you, doesn't control you, they see your light, and they protect it, and anyone who dims it to feel powerful, that's not love, that's manipulation. And you deserve so much better. You begin to notice something strange. Every time something good happens to you, she's suddenly distant, cold, detached, not angry, just uninterested, like your joy doesn't reach her. You get a promotion, she brushes it off, you accomplish a goal, she changes the subject, or worse, she finds a way to make it about her. Must be nice, I wish I had your luck. You'd think a person who loves you would celebrate with you. But she doesn't. She competes, she compares, she quietly resents your shine. That's a red flag most people ignore because it doesn't scream toxic on the surface, it whispers. And that whisper chips away at your sense of self. Because when the person closest to you can't stand to see you grow, you start shrinking without even realizing it. You dial it down, you downplay your wins. You stop sharing your dreams because the silence on the other end of the conversation starts to feel like rejection. And it is. This kind of woman sees your growth as a threat, not because you've done anything wrong, but because your light reflects her darkness. Your success highlights her insecurity, and instead of doing the work to grow alongside you, she'd rather pull you back into her comfort zone. Her ego can't handle your elevation, so she'll do whatever she can to anchor you to a version of yourself that serves her. Smaller, quieter, more dependent, less confident. The signs are subtle, but consistent. When you're struggling, she's engaged, she's present, she might even seem nurturing, but the moment you start rising, things shift. She'll minimize your achievements, undermine your confidence, throw passive, aggressive shade masked as jokes. Oh wow, I didn't think you'd actually get that job. Or be careful, success changes people. She'll plant seeds of doubt in moments that should be filled with pride. And because it's dressed up as concern or humor, you hesitate to call it what it is: envy. You see, a secure partner lifts you up. They find joy in your joy. They don't see your success as something that takes away from them. But an envious woman lives in a zero, some mindset. If you're winning, she must be losing. So she finds ways to level the field, not by growing herself, but by pulling you down. She might start picking fights when things are going well for you. Suddenly, you're dealing with drama on your best days. That's not accidental, that's emotional sabotage. She needs the spotlight back on her, and if she can't earn it through merit, she'll create chaos to get it. She also plays the victim. When you get recognition or praise, she finds a way to become the one in need. I've been having such a hard time lately, or I feel like you've been so focused on yourself. You end up feeling guilty for thriving, guilty for being happy. That's not love, that's manipulation. Love doesn't punish you for growing. It supports you in becoming all that you're meant to be. What's worse, her envy may not just be emotional. It can become strategic. She might subtly sabotage your opportunities, discourage your progress, or isolate you from people who support your growth. She'll tell you that certain friends are bad influences, when really, they're the ones reminding you of your worth. She'll convince you that your ambitions are unrealistic, not because they are, but because your belief in yourself threatens the control she has over you. The danger in all of this is that envy isn't always loud. Sometimes it looks like apathy, like silence when you need celebration, like distance when you need closeness. You start to internalize that silence as rejection. You start thinking maybe you're too much, too ambitious, too confident, so you begin dimming your light just to keep the peace, and that's exactly what she wants, because the more you shrink, the easier you are to manage. The less you believe in yourself, the more you'll believe in her version of you, one that's small, dependent, and easily manipulated, and once you're there, she doesn't even have to sabotage you anymore. You'll start doing it to yourself, but here's the truth. No one who genuinely loves you will ever resent your growth. Real love wants you to fly, wants you to thrive, wants you to become everything you're capable of being, even if that means you outgrow the person you once were. And if someone in your life can't handle your evolution, it's not your job to stop growing. It's your job to reevaluate why they're still in your life, because you can't stay small enough to make someone else feel big. You can't make yourself less so someone else feels more. That's not love. That's emotional imprisonment. And the cost is far too high. You were not created to live a watered-down version of your potential. You were not built to stay in environments that punish your progress. Your light is meant to shine, not to soothe someone else's shadow. So here's your reminder. Don't apologize for growing. Don't minimize your success to comfort someone else's insecurity. And don't let envy wear the mask of love. Pay attention to the energy in the room when you win. If someone's not clapping for you, that silence is speaking volumes. Listen to it, and then choose you. Choose your growth. Choose your future every single time. There's a certain kind of person who thrives on confusion. She doesn't yell. She doesn't rage. She doesn't always confront you directly. What she does instead is far more calculated. She creates an atmosphere of uncertainty. One day, she's loving, supportive, sweet. The next, she's distant, cold, dismissive. You're never quite sure what version of her you're going to get, and that's the point. The inconsistency isn't accidental. It's a tactic, because nothing keeps someone under control like confusion, and confusion is power. You start walking on eggshells without even realizing it. You monitor your words, you hesitate before speaking your truth, and you find yourself analyzing every little interaction. Did I do something wrong? Is she mad at me? Should I apologize? That constant second guessing isn't happening because you are unstable. It's happening because she is keeping you emotionally off balance. She's rewriting the rules of engagement every day, and you're trying to play a game that's rigged. She'll twist your words, make you feel guilty for things you didn't do, and subtly shift blame in ways that leave you feeling like you're always the problem. If you bring up your concerns, she accuses you of being too sensitive or dramatic. If you try to express how hurt you feel, she flips the script and says, "So now I'm the bad guy," turning every attempt at honesty into a personal attack against her. That's not miscommunication, that's emotional manipulation. Because when the focus is always on managing her asterisk emotions, you stop paying attention to your own. She might never raise her voice, but she'll raise your anxiety. Through silence, through subtle criticism, through inconsistent affection. One day she's all in, the next she's emotionally unavailable. And because you've experienced the good version of her, you keep hoping that woman will come back. That's how the cycle works. It's not a constant state of cruelty. It's a pendulum swing between charm and punishment. Just enough warmth to keep you engaged, just enough coldness to keep you chasing, and chasing becomes exhausting. You begin to feel like you're always trying to earn her love, to prove your worth, to decode her mood, but love doesn't require decoding. Real love communicates, it reassures, it creates safety. When someone loves you, they don't make you guess. They don't leave you in the dark emotionally just to see how much you'll tolerate before breaking. This kind of woman often operates with subtle psychological weapons. She might give you the silent treatment instead of working through conflict. She might withhold affection until you bend to her will. She might praise you publicly and cut you down privately. And all the while, she leaves just enough breadcrumbs of kindness to make you question whether it's really as bad as it feels. And that's the trap, because she's not awful all the time, and on the good days, you start to doubt the bad ones. But healthy relationships aren't defined by occasional kindness. They're built on consistent emotional safety. If someone is using your love for them as a leash to keep you tied to their ever-changing moods, that's not connection. It's control. You may find yourself losing trust in your own perception. You second-guess your feelings. You rationalize her behavior. You tell yourself, maybe she's just going through a lot, or she doesn't mean to hurt me. But here's the truth. Impact matters more than intent. If someone's behavior consistently leaves you feeling confused, drained, or diminished, it's toxic, regardless of whether or not they mean to cause harm. Sometimes she'll even gaslight you into believing you're the one who's changing. You'll hear things like, "You used to be more understanding," or "You're not the same person I fell in love with." But what she's really saying is, "I miss when you were easier to manipulate," because the more self-aware you become, the less power she holds. And that scares her. Control doesn't always show up as dominance. It can come disguised as dependency. She might make you feel responsible for her happiness, that if you leave, she'll fall apart, that without you, she has nothing. But no one should ever make you feel guilty for choosing your own mental and emotional well-being. That's not love. That's emotional blackmail, and the hardest part, no one else may see it. To the outside world, she might appear kind, generous, even charming. That's the image she carefully curates. But behind closed doors, the emotional chaos is real. And you're the only one living in it. That can make you feel isolated, like no one would believe you, like maybe it's all in your head. But trust me, it's not. Your confusion is not a weakness. It's a signal. Your anxiety is not a flaw. It's information, and your discomfort isn't overreacting. It's your intuition telling you something is wrong. Don't silence it. Don't ignore it. Don't let someone teach you to distrust your own experience just so they can stay comfortable in their dysfunction. At some point, you have to stop managing her emotions and start protecting your peace. You have to stop waiting for clarity from someone who profits off your confusion. You have to stop accepting inconsistency as normal, and you have to start listening to the version of you that still remembers what stability feels like. Because love should feel like home, not like a haunted house where you're never sure what's around the corner. You deserve clarity, you deserve safety, you deserve consistency, and you'll never find that in the arms of someone who thrives on keeping you unsure. So don't wait for her to change the game. Walk away from it. She thrives when you feel small. It's not always obvious at first. It doesn't start with name, calling, or outright insults. It starts with little digs wrapped in sarcasm. Backhanded compliments, jokes that cut a little too deep. You tell her about a new idea or dream, and she laughs. Not with you, but at you. You, really? She says with a smirk, "Good luck with that." You brush it off, thinking maybe she's just being funny. But deep down, it doesn't feel funny. It feels like a sting dressed up as wit, and it keeps happening. Over time, those small cuts start leaving real scars. You stop sharing your ideas. You start shrinking your goals just so you don't have to defend them. You begin dimming your light, not because you want to, but because every time you shine, she finds a way to cast a shadow. She doesn't encourage you, she contains you, and the more confident you become, the more passive, aggressive she gets. Her compliments are always conditional. Her support is always selective. When someone wants to keep you small, they rarely admit it outright. They mask it behind concern. I just don't want you to get hurt. Or, are you sure this is realistic? She'll say she's protecting you, but really she's projecting her limitations onto you. What she can't do, she convinces you not to try. What scares her, she wraps in caution tape and hangs it around your ambition. And before long, you start internalizing that fear as your own. She may even weaponize your past against you. Remember the last time you tried something like this? She'll say, let's not repeat that mistake. Instead of growth, she wants repetition. Instead of progress, she wants predictability, and not because she cares about your well-being, but because your evolution threatens her control. The more you grow, the less she can manage you, and that's what she's really afraid of, not losing you, but losing power over you. And here's where it gets more twisted. She'll disguise her control as love. She'll say, I just want what's best for you. But what she really means is, I want what's safest for me. Because the truth is, watching you rise forces her to confront her own stagnation. And instead of leveling up with you, she tries to level you down, not because you're wrong, but because your strength exposes her weakness. That's why she doesn't celebrate your growth. That's why she gets moody when you win. That's why she acts distant when you're happy, because deep down, your confidence reminds her of everything she hasn't addressed in herself, and rather than doing the work to grow too, she chooses the easier route, sabotage through subtlety. It shows up in the way she responds to your boundaries. Set one and watch how she reacts. If she respects it, she respects you. If she pushes against it, mocks it, or guilt trips you for having it, understand that she never saw you as someone with agency, only someone to mold, manage, and manipulate. And the moment you reclaim your power, she sees it as a betrayal. The manipulation isn't always loud. Sometimes it's in the silence, the withheld affection, the cold shoulder, the way she suddenly becomes too busy when you need her but expects your world to stop when she does. This imbalance isn't a coincidence. It's a power play, one where you're always giving more, compromising more, sacrificing more, just to maintain the peace she keeps disrupting. You'll find yourself asking questions you never asked before. Why am I constantly explaining myself? Why do I feel like I need permission to make decisions about my life? That's not love. That's control disguised as connection. Real love gives freedom, not fear. It supports autonomy, not anxiety. The damage doesn't come from one massive blow. It comes from 1,000 micro cuts, a comment here, a dismissive look there, a lack of support when you needed it most. You start questioning your judgment, your worth, your reality. That's the goal, to get you to doubt yourself so much that you stop trusting your own voice. Because as long as she can silence your inner guidance, she gets to narrate your life. And here's what's really wild. She'll act surprised when you finally pull away. She'll play the victim. I did everything for you. I was always there. But when you look back, you'll realize she was only there when you were losing. She was only supportive when you were struggling, because that's when you were easiest to manage. The moment you started to win, she started to disappear. You have to stop confusing comfort with safety. Just because you've known someone a long time doesn't mean they deserve a front row seat to your evolution. You don't owe loyalty to someone who's betting against your growth. You don't owe access to someone who only applauds your pain but goes silent when you thrive. The hardest truth to swallow: sometimes the person trying to hold you back isn't doing it because they hate you, but because they need you to stay broken. Your healing, your wholeness, your confidence, it threatens the power dynamic they've worked so hard to maintain. And the only way to break that cycle is to stop shrinking to fit their comfort zone. Stand up, speak out, step forward, even if your voice shakes, even if you walk alone for a while. Because your power isn't found in their validation. It's found in your courage to grow, even when they want you small. And when you do that, when you finally reclaim your voice, you won't need their approval. You'll have something better: freedom.